He's a 10.
I choose this family.
Hi guys, welcome to episode 26 of 911 Lone Star Roundup. I'm one of your hosts, Grace, and with me are my lovely co-hosts, Katie.
Hey.
And EJ.
Hey.
Today we will be talking about 911 Lone Star Season 2, Episode 10, titled A Little Help from My Friends. This was a great episode, so I'm really excited to start talking about it.
I was like, is this, I don't, honestly, this, last week's was really good too, and I was like, I think this one, beats that one, and I really loved that one too. I feel like now we're getting to the point with these newer episodes that, every episode just keeps getting better, and I'm like, how can they beat themselves?
I know. I agree. I think this is one of the funnier episodes of the season so far.
Oh, yeah. For me, I was either, at one moment, I was, crying, and the next minute, I'm, laughing. There was no in-between.
Yeah. I was straight out cackling.
Yes.
Several points, and I'm just
me too.
Yeah, so good.
But first, we opened up with Mateo.
Mm-hmm.
And can we have a moment of appreciation for his Captain America pajamas?
Oh, yes. That was both, we kind of expected that because I believe in the crossover in the part where, him, TK, and Buck are all walking, he mentions Captain America, so yeah. I feel like that was just, a kind of hint that something may be coming, and, yes, that was everything.
Honestly, it just seemed like a nice nod to the a very popular franchise.
Yes.
But the fact that it links back to that, in retrospect, it's like, oh, hell yeah.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I feel bad for Mateo in this situation because it reminds me a little of Buck from season 1 in 911, just because he had roommates that weren't really courteous at first about, his weird shifts and stuff.
Oh yeah.
I don't remember anything about roommates.
They showed him once. And I don't remember it being a huge deal. I just remember Buck walking in one time, and being like, "Hey, this is my roommate that's a firefighter," or something like that. I don't think they made it that bad. I just remember his roommates being kind of obnoxious, but that's all I remember. I don't remember it being a deal, I guess.
Yeah. I know that I remember there was some mention, but I didn't think they were shown. So,
No, there was just one clip in the scene, but it made they were playing video games in roughhousing, and he comes home from a 24-hour shift, and he's tired, and they're like, "Oh, come on, let's play," and it just. Buck wasn't ready for that or something like that.
Yeah.
Civilians don't get it.
Yeah.
Yes.
But then amen for, Mateo being a firefighter because he, the roommate had messed with the gas line to get a char so he could barbecue in the house on the stove and
Idiot.
There are so many things wrong with that.
Yeah, I was like, you idiot.
Not least of all because he made a gas leak.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes. The roommates were mentioned, in episode 6 of season 1. And honestly, they pretty much matched my expectation of what I was expecting them to be like. Pretty much, so.
Honestly, since 6 and 7 are the ones I always skip over, I don't remember that mention either. I'm just forgetting all the roommates now.
Yeah. Yeah.
But honestly, I kind of didn't expect anything else.
Yeah.
I will say I'm a little proud of myself because that the explosion we saw in the promos that has been speculated that was Carlos's. I didn't think it was Carlos's.
Yep.
And so I was right.
Yeah. I mean.
Well, yeah. I mean.
Sorry, gonna say that. I'm like I don't think.
Yeah.
I don't think it's that.
Honestly, okay, so I didn't really think about it much. I didn't really think it was. Part of me didn't think it was Carlos's, but part of me was like, maybe. I don't know. I was very surprised that this was the explosion.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of got a feeling that this was gonna be an explosion after the gas was mentioned. He's everyone out.
Oh yeah, they weren't just going to have it in that.
Yeah.
Though I loved the little bit of the girls just going, how you always told me not to burn incense.
Yeah.
And that's
and he and everybody else ducks when it explodes, and he just stands there with his back to back
Any-
to it. He's just,
Yeah,
like,
the
I need new
best.
friends.
Yeah, I need new friends.
So mood.
So I was kind of 50-50 on the whole if this was Carlos' place or not, because I remember going back to this preview and I remember going slow and I recognized Mateo and I'm thinking, well, were they all over at Carlos's? And then I didn't even think that it could have been Mateo's place because I totally forgot he had roommates and I didn't recognize anybody else. So then I, now after seeing the episode, I realized, okay, that's his roommate's place.
Yeah, honestly, and the problem was such a quick glimpse that I didn't even recognize anybody.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah,
I mean,
it
I
was
think it was just saying we got that clip on top of all the teasers for Carlos's place. And so I think it was a natural assumption to think, oh, maybe that is.
Mm-hmm.
But I just didn't think so, and I don't know what about the scene, but I think it didn't look like Carlos's place to me, like, or how I envisioned it to be, so I didn't think it was.
Yeah, I definitely, I agree. Like, they could have played it either way, but like, honestly, the outside, like, isn't what I pictured in my head.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Speaking of Carlos, oh my god, it's
oh my god, they moved on! And we knew it was happening, but like, hell yeah.
Oh, it was so good. Like,
so good.
The whole thing. Like, I've seen the whole thing probably like 10 times. Honestly, after the episode aired, I went back to that part.
Yeah, I'm like, just watching. I'm like, I'd already the clips that made up that scene just because I didn't watch it until this morning.
Yeah.
So I was seeing all the clips being put out. But like seeing them put together in such a cool scene, it was like, oh my gosh. Also, can I just say, when Carlos says structural damage, I kept thinking about him and how he had just knocked against the door because of TK's misdirection. I'm just like, oh yeah, we don't want any more structural damage.
Go to your right. Oops, hits wall.
I mean, my right.
And the best part was like their like jokes of each other, like Carlos being like, I hope this is not how you treat your patients in the field.
Nancy has a much better sense of direction than you do. Never mind the fact that he was the one that just steered him wrong.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And
I love the playful domestic.
Playful. Yeah, it was so cute. My favorite line, I think there's a couple, okay? Like, there's so many, but my first favorite is like TK being like, are you sure you're okay with having my exercise bike in the middle of a dining room or your dining room? And Carlos is like, it's our dining room, not TK. And I was like, oh my god.
I have no words even. That was like, it's too perfect to even touch. I mean,
love it.
And then their kiss, guys, our first actual aired kiss of the season.
I told you guys it would happen.
It had to happen. I mean, that's just like, what else?
I know. This is kind of like me being like, I told you it's gonna happen. Everyone being like DMing me this whole scene, be like, are they ever gonna kiss? And I'm like, it's gonna happen. It has to happen at some point. They're just waiting for the right moment.
So honestly, it's like, as much as I've thought like the lack of kisses hasn't really bothered me throughout the season because there's so many other domestic parts.
Same.
Like this, it was still like a finally moment.
Yeah. Agreed.
So my thing was on Monday when the clip of the scene had been released, Ronan teased that there were fireworks during
Okay,
the
to
scene.
be honest, I thought they were going to hook up.
Same.
So did I.
I was like, but got like, oh my god.
I was just like, do they show Owen out the door and then like collapse on the couch after throwing everything off or something? For one thing, they need to finally like get in bed, but like, what happened?
Yeah, so I was like, I didn't really see that kiss as fireworks, but I definitely enjoyed it. Like,
yeah,
I think it was just kind of like, you know how in Disney movies, you get the typical like true love's kiss, so to speak, and then there are just fireworks all over the place. I think that's kind of what I thought. I was like, I'm like, okay, I can picture a little Disney firework here. Yeah. But I definitely thought it was going to be them hooking up.
And dang, TK has a lot of boxes.
Yeah, I was trying to count them, but like they're not countable. And people were like, TK had one room. How does he have so many damn boxes? And I'm like,
he had an apartment in New York.
Yeah, like he probably eventually just transferred his stuff here.
Guys, it's called storage.
Yeah, that
I'm
too.
still getting some of my boxes from storage.
Yeah.
And I
Also,
have lived in my home for 2 years.
yeah.
Going on 3 years. Anyway, so it's called storage, guys.
Also, like, I feel like there's a couple of reasons why. Like, I feel like they do it to make it look like more full. And also, like, boxes aren't necessarily, you can't necessarily fit like a ton of stuff in them. So you always end up having way more boxes than you don't have like 5 boxes for one bedroom. You always end up having like way more than there actually needs to be, I guess.
Honestly,
Yeah,
there
that's
was
true.
probably one box for his books, one box for like movies and CDs, one box for like you add up all the things. I was like, well, why aren't there more boxes? Just
Right.
because it's moving.
Yes.
Like, but I do like appreciate how I almost wanted a scene of them unpacking. And then they're just
Yes.
having to shift things around.
Yeah.
But you know what? I am happy with the way it is. And can I just say, when you said there was a lot of, you were going to say boxes, but my brain supplied muscle mass on Carlos and that
Yeah.
That too.
tank top.
Yes.
Speaking
that too.
of,
What
speaking
the hell
of,
is happening with my brain? I'm sorry.
yes.
Anyway.
Speaking of, when Owen said, "Oh, let me just put up this pull-up bar," and TK's like, "Dad, Carlos can handle himself. He's very handy." The look Carlos gave TK when he said that had me dying, like on the floor.
Yes, me
I was
too.
like, innuendo much?
Carlos
Yeah.
is like a little embarrassed. He was just like,
I
"Don't say
said
that in front of your father."
I would have loved to have had this like comment about tools. I
Aw.
just had that.
Oh,
Anyway, oh my goodness.
yeah.
And then Owen bequeathed Marlon Blendo to TK.
Oh yeah, that
That
was
was so cute.
yeah, that was the best. And like, oh, that just whole scene, like, I'm not gonna come over here, everybody, make you peanut
Peanut
butter.
butter smoothie. I was like, okay, that's...
Ah, that was so cute. I gotta
Yeah, it
say,
was.
I got secondhand embarrassment from it, but once I
oh,
was
I thought
actually
it was
able to watch it,
adorable.
once
Yeah,
I
it
was
was
actually able to
cute.
watch it, I thought it was really cute. I still got a little secondhand embarrassment
I
from
mean,
it.
yeah, I totally get what you're saying because like I kind of felt the same way, but also like the more I watch, I'm like, okay, that's really cute.
That it is cute, honestly.
Well,
Oh
and
my
that's
Yeah.
god.
the Owen and TK relationship I've been wanting for the like for this whole
Yeah.
season. So it was
Yeah,
good to see that interaction
yeah,
between them.
exactly. And like this whole episode, the common theme is Carlos still struggling to call Owen and not Captain.
And Owen is continually reminding him, and
Right.
Owen.
Even in this, like even at Carlos's house, they've like Captain Strand. I was like, really, Carlos?
Carlos
I'm like,
is
your boyfriend is moving in with you, and you have not been able to call his dad by his name. Like,
I'm a Carlos, okay? So I can't really say much because I'd probably do the same thing.
honestly, like I'd still be the person who'd like call them like my future in-laws, because we all know it's gonna happen, Mr. or Mrs. in front of their first names or something, just because I can't.
Yeah, that's how I
But
feel.
like, okay, marry after 10 years and then might be able to do it, but but it was still like the level of formality with Captain Straight. It sounds like he's still on the job.
Yeah.
Right.
But I think it was great. And as I commented on Ronan's post that had this little snippet in it, I was like, I think it's gonna be season 6 before we get.
Oh yeah, that was the best. I loved that.
Yes, and I'm like, that's also projecting that I want a season 6.
Yes.
Yes.
But we're just waiting for a season 3 announcement.
Please. Any day now,
Yeah,
please, Fox,
hopefully
please.
we'll cross our
Fox!
fingers. And so also in this scene, TK's worried that Owen's gonna be going through his cancer surgery and stuff without anybody at home, and Owen's like, I won't be alone. I've got Buttercup.
Oh,
I'm like,
cute Buttercup.
Oh my goodness,
Cute Buttercup.
I love all the Buttercup in this
Oh
episode.
me too.
Okay.
And thanks to Insane So during convention, we're supposed to get more of him.
Oh yes, my heart is happy.
Good.
And I'm just like, I am holding you to that.
Yes.
Definitely.
I'm hoping that's part of why 12 is so great, and 11, and all of that.
Yeah.
Buttercup is like the star.
Yes, he so is. And okay, I have to say this. So when Owen goes home to Buttercup and Buttercup isn't coming, I was like, did he die? Like, honestly,
Aw.
I went there, okay? Like, I hate that my mind went there, but like, I was like, no.
Right. And then like as Owen's walking through the house and like he opened up the back door and stuff, you could see a doghouse, and I'm like, oh, so is that the doghouse that everybody keeps referencing?
Oh my god, somebody said something like that on Twitter. Somebody was like, Owen has a doghouse for Buttercup. I wonder if Carlos has one for TK. I died. I wish I screenshotted it so I knew who said it, but it was so good. I was like, oh my god.
Oh, that's so good.
Oh my goodness.
I was dead.
Like,
And
my god.
Owen is calling for Buttercup. He's not coming. And then somebody knocks at the door, and he opens at the door, and it's the neighbor with Buttercup on a leash. And he'd been visiting the neighbor, Bella, Labradoodle, the Labradoodle next door.
I was like, okay. I mean, literally, that's where the term "jumps the fence" comes from. Like,
Yeah.
It's also like Bernie's mountain dog / Labradoodle puppies. Oh my goodness, that'd be so
those would be-
cute.
the curly black and white and brown fur. Oh, that'd be so
Okay,
cute.
now I'm looking up to see what they actually.
I was about to do the same thing.
I have a friend who has a Labradoodle.
Oh, yeah, I know some people with Labradoodles.
I love how we're both. Oh my god, that's so cute.
Yeah.
Grace and I are both looking this up at the same time. Oh my god, so cute. I want one.
And this and the guy was like, he's doing a lot more than just playing, because Owen's like, oh, are you out to play with Bella again? He's like, he was doing a lot more than playing. He's fixed, right?
Bernadoodle, oh my gosh. Okay, sorry.
Same.
They're so cute. They also look like wolfhounds a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, okay.
Yeah. And Frank was concerned that he's like, Buttercup's fixed, right? He's like, better not be any puppies on the way, Owen, or if there are. And Owen's like, I'm confident Buttercup will do the right thing.
I was dying at that. Like,
that wasn't even the best part.
No.
The best part was when the neighbor leaves and Owen's like to Buttercup, when they tell you the puppies are yours, don't believe that.
them.
Yes,
And
that was the best.
The first
I was
time-
already dying at the one comment, but at this, I was like, oh my gosh.
Yeah,
I couldn't even.
Yeah, the first time like I watched this, I didn't really think much about it because I was tired, and I was like, but the second time I watched it, I was like, oh my god.
Oh yeah. If that's not a reference to the earlier part of the season, I don't know what is.
Tell me you're talking about Glenn without
Yes.
telling me you're talking about Glenn, basically.
Yes.
Yes, and I'm just
then
like
later in the
yes.
episode, it comes up again, and I just want to laugh at what happened, but we'll talk about it when we get there.
Yes.
So we get to a call that is just a typical like random call, but it's a girl's got her arm stuck in this ice cream machine, and so it was at an ice cream parlor, and some teenage boys who were quote unquote friends with one of the guys that worked there,
They were using
making
him.
fun of her and video recording her and all the agony she was going through. And so Marjan, being awesome,
The queen
I love
she
that
is.
girl.
used her power of Instagram and recorded them being I don't know, assholes to this girl by recording her, and she posted it on Instagram.
Yes,
And
that
she's
was
like,
so everything.
Oh yeah,
I was just like,
I
well,
loved Marjan doing that.
have fun having all your future employers and your future college hopefuls have a look at that.
Yeah.
Mhm. And they were like the typical high school jocks, you know, wearing the Letterman's
Oh,
jackets and the girls that
yes.
hang with them and stuff. So they were totally like using this kid, and it was just so.
Such an asshole.
And then I loved what Paul said to Marjan. You're cold-blooded. She goes, don't forget it, or something like that. I was like,
Yeah, she
Yeah.
owned it, and I'm just
Yeah.
like,
She was
honestly,
so good.
if I was in that situation, I would have done the same thing, but I would have added like, "You're a big boy now, and big boys get consequences." Bye.
Right.
Yes.
Because they do, they get to face the consequences. Also, they'll be the new meme. Just saying.
Yes. Honestly, when I was watching this scene, the line "Life is high school" came in my head.
Yes, that too. I was thinking about that.
Like
It's
that.
true.
Yeah, that really made me think about.
Or
I was
just
like,
In which
even
case, they just got ousted from the popular kids.
yeah,
yeah, or even the comment like Tim and Nancy's comment about the firehouse being a high school.
yeah.
Yeah.
So after shift, TK's leaving to go home to Carlos and invites Owen to have dinner with them because Carlos suggests invited him.
I loved that.
No.
Honestly, just to make this slightly funny, I wouldn't be surprised if Owen just said no just because he didn't want to hear Captain Strand the entire evening.
Oh no. Oh yeah. And then Carlos is making ropa vieja, which translated from Spanish is old clothes.
I know. I looked it up, and I love like the whole like description of it. It's like it basically just the history of it is basically like a poor old man once shredded and cooked the clothes off his back in order to feed his hungry family, and I was like, wait, I love that. Like,
oh.
yeah.
Yeah, old clothes. Yeah. So it's a Cuban dish, TK said it was Carlos's grandma. So now I'm wondering, is on one side of his family, is there Cuban American heritage on there? Or is it just a dish she likes to make?
Yeah. Cause like I feel like we don't know his actual background. So I feel like it's just kind of like up in there right now. So a lot of people are just speculating. But it's like interesting to get like I like these little like hints of like him cooking something and like to know like where that came from, or just even like knowing this and like Carlos's grandma. And I'm like, once they mentioned Carlos's grandma, I was like, I want to meet her now.
Oh,
Yeah.
I love a good abuela.
Too.
Yes, like
Honestly,
if
like
she's
just Eddie's abuela, for example.
I was just about to say, like,
and like I love her.
yes,
And, like
Queen.
give me all the abuelas. I love, I love
Yes.
a good Spanish grandmother.
Yes, I was about to just say, like, if she's anything like Eddie's abuela, I will love her.
Oh yeah,
yes,
totally.
Give me. I want it's official. I want a Reyes family reunion.
Yes.
Ooh, yes, that'd be so good.
Just dinner at Tia Lucy's, is not just a few people. It's like the entire family on Sundays.
It's like, oh no, there Carlos and TK. Oh no, there'll be a few people there. The whole family shows up.
Yeah.
Well, especially if this is the first one that TK goes to, so he's being introduced to the family.
Oh, yeah.
Because I refuse to think that Linstar will give us hints that he's been going without showing.
Yeah.
Right. And yeah, in the scene, so Owen declines going to dinner
because of quote unquote incident reports.
Yeah.
And then he's playing solitaire.
Yeah, he's playing solitaire. He's definitely struggling with something.
Yeah, sulking. Yeah, he's like, I feel like, I don't know, like, I kind of feel like this has to do with like the stuff we find out later with his surgery and stuff like that. And like, I don't know, I also feel like he's like trying to like TK be on his own and stuff, but like dinner is nothing. It's not like you're moving in.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad about that. Honestly, this is the moment during this entire episode. It's particularly obvious, but through the whole season, it's been obvious how depressed he is, and it was masked because of Gwen. But now that Gwen is gone, Gwen isn't necessarily, I'd say, the cause of his depression.
No,
that started long before.
Yeah.
And this is where I get mad at the Owen haters and the people that have been just shitting on Owen this entire season. Because yes, he's been different, not necessarily a good different, but he has been so obviously depressed.
Yeah.
And like, people haven't awarded him any grace because of it.
Yeah, like
they've just hated on him.
Yeah, like honestly, like it really bothers me though, because like if Owen was your friend in real life, like if this was people who don't like Owen, if this was your friend in real life and this is what they were going through, I don't think you would be saying the same things you would be saying.
No. If not, they should not have any friends with mental health issues.
Yeah, like that's like my one, like I like you can be frustrated, but like also like just flat out hating him for
Yeah.
like things, and like
Hating him for being human. Like, how low can you
Right.
get?
yeah, and like I think also like the main thing that really showed his depression this whole season was probably like the cancer being in remission.
Yeah.
And like they kind of honestly looking back they kind of foreshadowed that just because like the doctor said like sometimes like getting the clear is the worst thing for people. So
yeah, and that was in
Yeah.
episode 1. And we got a little taste of it in the crossover when he was like spilling his guts to Hen. And she even said, you know, if you're willing to tell, you know, practically a complete stranger all that stuff, maybe you need to talk to somebody.
yeah.
And, you
And
know, he
it's
just passed
true.
it off. And yeah, and I for those out there that are, you know, you know, it's okay to be upset and not happy with it, because there's definitely things Owen has done recently I'm not happy with, but I definitely don't hate him.
Yeah.
And I
Like,
don't.
he's been human, and that doesn't
Yeah.
mean I've liked what he's done when he's been especially human, but he's been human.
Yeah.
So he's definitely been going through some stuff, and I'm glad, you know, through this episode we see it kind of finally addressed and, you know, come to a head. So, but this kind of also, you know, in the last 5 or 6 episodes, he's gone through a lot. You know, TK got hurt, Gwen got pregnant, found out the baby's not his. She went back to New York. They broke up. I mean, losing Tim, and he was right next to Tim. So he's gone through so much.
By this point, he's had like his 4th or 5th case of survival guilt. I mean, honestly.
Yeah. Like,
Yeah.
it's just like one thing after another for him. Like, it's
Yeah.
just piling up. And then at the end of the season, it's just gonna like all like crumble
Yeah.
and stuff. Maybe even in the next couple of episodes, honestly.
Yeah.
I'm kind of expecting it.
Well,
honestly,
we only have 4 episodes left.
Yep.
Oh my goodness, I keep forgetting that we're on like a time block here.
Yeah.
Where like it's going to be ending soon. It's going to be so sad. But we do have 4 more episodes. But I was going to say that I think the title should have actually been different, even though I like the title for this episode. I think it should have been called Pride, because Owen's pride and Grace's pride kept hindering them throughout the episode and even the season.
Pride comes before the fall.
Exactly.
Yeah,
like they
honestly.
were proud, and I'm proud. Okay, I'm a proud person, but like it's detrimental. And it was detrimental to both of them in this episode. And as they were among like the main focus, you know, I like the title, but I actually think it should have been something along the lines of Pride.
Yeah, I agree.
And so after kind of TK leaving, Owen's leaving, because I guess the shift commander kind of nudged him out of the office. He finds Mateo asleep on one of the workout benches, and he's not responding. So like Owen, I think, drops his bag and kind of goes over, freaking out that he's like passed out, like literally passed out.
Honestly, I was worried for a moment.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
But then Mateo wakes up and they have a conversation as to what's going on and why he's there, and he tries to cover it up with a lie, but it doesn't necessarily work because Owen's like, "You're a terrible liar."
He is a terrible liar.
Yes. Like, okay, so I didn't think he was anything like medically was wrong. Like, I didn't think he was actually like, passed out because like the whole like sleep, like the whole roommate thing, I was like, oh yeah, he's definitely like sleep deprived, so he's probably just asleep. But like it was just like, okay.
Right.
And stuff, and like, okay, like we knew from like just teases that like Owen and Mateo would become roommates, but we didn't know how until this point. And I was like, okay, well, I needed like I didn't want like that him to just randomly just be living with him. I needed to like build up and
we
to
got
know
build up,
why.
and I loved that.
Yeah.
Yes, that's why I loved it. And I actually like, I mean, they're not the greatest roommates, but I kind of like it.
Honestly, yeah, I agree. Like, there's just something to be said for the camaraderie, but I think there's just such a huge gap between them, like maturity-wise, for example, that it's just, you know.
Yeah, I mean, but also on the other hand, for me, it's showing a good captain because you take care of your family, your firehouse family, and if it means letting somebody, you know, room with you for a few weeks or a few months to get back on their feet, then, you know, that's kind of a good thing on Owen's part. Granted, Owen took it a little farther, as we'll see in a few scenes.
Just a bit.
Yeah, so next kind of see Grace at home with Judd. He's getting ready to go back to his first shift, and she's definitely struggling with her recovery.
Yeah, these scenes were really hard to watch because, like, I don't know, it was just really hard to see her struggle. And honestly, like, this other times I've watched this episode, I like had to skip over those parts because it's just too painful for me. Like, I just like can't like watch it. Like, oh, I feel so bad and stuff. But like, it also shows her strength, which is good. But like, it's just so hard.
It really is. She's such a strong, solid character that seeing her struggle, it's like that person in your life who's always been the rock, always been, you know, just there for everyone and never really need much themselves. But suddenly they are in a desperate time of need, and you don't know how to deal with that because it's like you've never seen them like this before. And even with other times, any other time of vulnerability or stuff, she's always been still that kind of rock. So, you know, it was definitely hard to see her like this.
Yeah.
But I will say, Judd is being adorable with her.
Yes.
Like we knew he would be, but
yeah.
Yeah.
I also love him being slightly overprotective.
Yes.
And I love that Judd was kind of helping. I you know, and Judd is going to be a good person for her to lean on because he's pretty much just gone through the same thing, but in season 1.
Yeah.
Kind of, not a physical, but more of a
mental.
He was in a coma for like 3 months. From what I remember.
Yeah. His is more mentally, but like still. And also like, yeah, I just really I like because he's went through like his stuff in season 1 that now he's gonna be here for her and stuff. And like that like he gets to take on that role of being like overprotective, kind of like I don't know, just really protective over her, and I just love it.
Yeah.
And then we get the roommates hanging out.
The roomies.
Poor Mateo.
Yeah, like Mateo just wants sleep, and Owen's like,
let's get drunk.
Let's get drunk. It's tequila time. And like Mateo's reaction is like me. Like, I'm not surprised that Owen has tequila time, but I'm like, he's like, you have a tequila time? He's like, yeah, it's any time when you don't have a recovering addict in the house or somebody is pregnant. And I'm like, Owen, oh my god. Like, just like the whole tequila time, and Mateo's like, well, this is only one shot. And of course it's not one shot. We all knew that.
It's never one shot.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
There's a shirt out there that says one tequila, 2 tequila, 3 tequila, 4.
Yeah, isn't it a song? I think that's in a song. I think that's why.
It might be, yeah.
I seriously, I don't know what song it is, but I know it's in a song that I do know for sure. But yeah,
I mean, Tequila Makes Her Clothes Fall Off is a Joe Nichols song. Country girl here.
Yeah.
I mean, at least clothes appear to be kept on completely, even though I would just be surprised to see like a shirt fly off just because they're those kinds of people.
I did love seeing Owen and Mateo having like hangout time, but when they started getting a little too much liquor in them and started sharing some things, and Owen ended up sharing with Mateo that he canceled his cancer surgery.
You dumbass.
Like, exactly. Like, one, you don't spill that to some random person, and you don't do that in the first place.
Yeah,
like,
I mean,
oh my god.
Yeah, like, okay, so I wasn't surprised. I was honest. Okay, I wasn't expecting this specifically, but I was definitely expecting something like this to happen. Also, like, okay, so like we knew that like Owen was gonna spill a secret, and honestly, if this was a secret to be spilled, I actually don't hate it because I was afraid that it was gonna be something revolving around TK and something personally about him, and I was like, no, do not talk about my boy.
Yeah.
Oh, I never thought it was going to be something like that. I just thought maybe he was going to overshare about like his struggles personally. Like, no, let me explain. Like something with 9/11 or something concerning Tim or something darker.
Yeah.
And like this was kind of heavy in its own way, but not that same.
Yeah, it
thing.
wasn't. Yeah,
so I'm actually glad this is what it was.
It was just dumbassery, basically, for me.
Yeah.
Like, who's the dumbass now?
Right.
Like, from episode 3.
Right.
Owen joined the club.
Hey, Judd was there during that. Yeah. Anyways.
Yeah.
So our next scene is Grace is at the store with her brace on her leg, and she's really having time, but she wanted to go shopping and refused to ask for help.
Even though
which
it was
I get
literally
it.
offered to her.
Yeah, and it's extremely. I mean, coming from somebody who's like, it's really challenging for me to ask for help. So I get it, but there are limitations to when I will ask, and this would have been one of them. Like, I'm not gonna. Yeah,
this was making me so damn nervous. Like when I was watching this scene, I was literally getting so much anxiety. I felt like I was gonna like burst or something. Like I was like, Grace, why are you doing? Like I get it, and I get why, but I also like, and it got worse later and stuff, and I was just like, no, what are you doing? And like some people, like I really didn't like how I saw some people saying like really like I don't know how to explain it, like people like really bashing Grace for like this, and I'm like
people just need to be
why?
hateful. That's kind of my takeaway from this.
But like,
people are being so hateful. My only real standing alone like that, it's just she's not taking care of herself, and that's concerning.
Like
on top of being pregnant, and she's at a vulnerable point in her pregnancy where miscarriages can easily happen, and especially with trauma to her lower body, and guess what, her lower body happens to be where the baby is. And it's like, I think the main thing with that is, we see earlier she's like taking prenatal vitamins and stuff, and I'm like, this is supposed to be one of the happiest times of her life, and she's having to deal with this.
She can't enjoy it like most women get to,
especially after wanting a baby for a while, and like at least she and Jed had agreed that they were ready for one by this point. But it wasn't even planned for. Like, and so it's like, I don't know, that's rough. That it's so marred by this.
I actually fast forwarded through this scene. I once I saw what the situation, I was like, yep, I'm fast forwarding through it. I'm like, it's too hard to watch, and it stirs up too many emotions in me.
Honestly, I thought I was going to do the same. I actually didn't, which is surprising because I tend to skip through awkward situations or like very uncomfortable situations, and this would be turned under that. But now it was hard seeing her at this, but I'd already like posted on the Instagram, so I was a little more prepared. I think that's the easiest way to say.
Like I couldn't fast forward through, but honestly, I always watch like whatever happens in the show. I always watch it through once, and then the second time I fast forward.
Yeah, that's what I did.
I try to do the same. It's easier if I'm not near my because I watch on my computer, my mouse in this case, because then like that usually means I'm focusing on something else as well, so I can just kind of let it run and watch it. But then I know what to skip through.
Second time, I do what I want.
So kind of the end of the scene is she goes out to the car to take the groceries, and she's struggling, and she drops her keys in the car, and she reaches for them, and kind of has some very loud bones creaking and cracking, and
I was like,
that it sounded painful.
Did you call 911? Like, that is concerning.
Yeah. So she just sits there for like 6 hours. We'll talk about that in a second, but the next scene isn't really like, I mean, it's another kid scene, and so it's a kid. He's up on the top of his roof, and his mom's freaking out, so she calls them to come get him down. And Carlos is there, and they can't really figure out how the kid got up there because everything's closed. And but the whole situation was Paul, Marjan, and Mateo were talking on the radios about
oh my god, yeah,
and Owen's like 126, you're on an open channel, and they're all kind of like, you could see that like, oh crap, look,
it was like
oops. Honestly, the funniest part was that like Marjan, Paul, and Mateo obviously knew what they were talking about, but then Judd chimes in and was like, wait, who are you all talking about? Who's depressed now?
Yeah, because this was his first shift back from his accident.
What did I miss? Honestly,
like, and that's like Paul, me. Mateo, and Marjan had already been speaking about this over breakfast, and I was just like too laughing laugh at the chunky comment.
Oh my
Oh,
god.
yeah.
Because
gross
obviously
me
he
out.
was so hungover.
I forgot
Um,
about that.
Honestly,
Like,
we
don't
have
say
skipped
chunky.
through a few scenes in here, and
Yeah.
that's fine. But I'm just referencing that because I think it was really
Oh,
funny.
yeah.
But
Yeah.
That kind of, I mean, right now that's making me just like, ew.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was like so funny. Okay.
And Owen, I love Owen's response though. He does say in the radio, he's like, just for clarification, I'm not depressed.
Oh yeah.
Even
I
though
love-
I'm like,
no
of
one believes
course,
you.
yeah, exactly. Of course, anybody who says they're not depressed probably is. They just don't want to admit it.
Right. Yeah, it's a
Um,
hard thing to admit, honestly. So like I don't blame him. And like also like it's not the right time and place even if he was like if he did know he was actually depressed, which
Right.
deep down he does. Like it's not the right time and place when there's like civilians and just a job that needs to be done to be saying like, yeah, I'm depressed.
Yeah. Yeah. So this scene ends, and we get Tommy coming to save Grace at the grocery store parking lot.
Thank God.
I
And
was
Tommy,
glad it was Tommy.
Yeah.
Also, can I just say I loved her boxer braids earlier in the episode.
Oh yeah,
Like
those
they
were
were
so
so
cute.
good. I loved
Mhm.
them.
I loved that. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
She's got some good hairstyles.
Yeah.
Mhm. But that's like my favorite.
Same.
And so I love that Tommy laid into Grace about, she needing to call for help and ask for help, and she was mad because it took her 6 hours to message and ask for it.
But she was
Yeah.
like a gentle mad,
Yeah.
like gently scolding. Like she was angry at the situation, or not even angry. She was like frustrated at the situation. I think was the best thing,
Yeah.
but she wasn't mad at Grace.
Right.
Yeah.
And that is, key point of conflict.
Mhm.
Yeah, it was
Focus
more.
on the situation, not the person.
Yeah, it was more like you waited 6 hours, but the funniest part was her being like, "Well, at least you didn't go hungry and showing the ice cream
Oh,
that was
the
melting
ice cream
earlier."
container. Yeah.
She's like, I really want some Rocky Road. And I'm like, honestly, I don't like Rocky Road, but
I
that's
don't
because I don't
either.
like
I don't
nuts
either.
very much.
None of us do. That's
Um,
funny.
I
Oh
love
my god,
that. I love
yes.
that.
I love that for us. Like, yeah, I hate peanut butter, so why would I like that?
Oh my gosh, yeah.
But I did love Kami's line in there. She's like, asking for help doesn't mean you're weak, it means you're wise, which is so true.
I was like, yes, girl.
Go
it's
Tommy.
Yes.
Because
It
I
was-
can just imagine that when Tommy was pregnant with the twins, with her being older than 40, it's geriatric pregnancy. There's a lot of risks in that. So there was a lot of things she probably couldn't do.
Right, and
so
it being a
she's-
twin pregnancy.
Yeah.
I mean, those can be hit and miss at the best of times.
Yeah.
So.
And then dun dun dun, we get the next scene is TK's coming into Owen's room and throwing the blinds open, and
Intervention.
he's like, "Get up, Dad!" And Owen's like, "You seem peevish. Are you peevish?"
He's like, I'm not peevish. I'm pissed.
I'm not gonna lie, I had to look up what that meant because I've never heard that word before.
You've never heard peevish?
Never?
No.
Oh my goodness. Okay,
No.
yeah.
Maybe it's just me, but like nobody says that where I'm from.
Well, I
I've
mean,
heard.
people around here will say peeved, Peeved.
Okay,
Yeah,
I've I've heard that, but I've never heard peevish. So like, but like I never like I don't know like there's other words that like people where I'm from say like that are like similar to that. I just can't remember what they are right now. But I just like yes, I have heard peep though, but I've never heard it like peevish. Like that just sounds so formal. I was like, what the heck does that mean?
Right.
It is an odd word.
Yeah. And then,
but I love the specification of I'm not peevish. I'm pissed.
Same
Right,
TK.
right. And he's
I
like,
love
how
his
long have
Sims
you,
boy.
like, he's like, how long have you been hiding this from me? Hiding what? That you're depressed. And then he goes on to lays into him about canceling the surgery, and then tells him, get up, get dressed. It's 2:30.
Wait, he didn't mention the surgery at that point. He didn't mention it till later.
Yeah, he mentioned it later.
He was like, because Mateo was there when he mentioned the surgery.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
He's like, and how did you find out about it? You told me.
I love how it's basically been this big game of telephone.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it finally gets back to
I love that.
Carlos and TK. Actually, probably TK, then Carlos.
Doesn't Owen say something like, oh, they got to you too?
Yeah.
And that's when he tells him to get up and come downstairs. And I love Owen casually like, well, if you're gonna tell me to come downstairs, you could at least give me an ID on footwear. Like,
Oh
really?
yeah.
And then
Your
you
son
see
is
the
missing.
entire
This is
intervention
your
crew is like,
response?
Frank.
Yes, I'm just gonna say this. Like, I kind of love TK saying he was pissed, like, way too much than I probably should, but it was just like, ah.
He was just kind of like, I'm not dealing with your shit right now. Like,
Yeah.
nope.
Agreed.
And like him coming in and just like opening up all the blinds, and I was like, because
Yes.
Owen did that for TK at one point, so like TK just like taking charge and TK
Right.
forming an intervention, TK just doing all the things. I was like, yes, I
Go
love you.
TK.
Yes, TK. Yes, because like honestly, TK's been fed up with Owen shit. I'm sure of it.
Oh yeah. This
Oh,
was
yeah.
probably the straw that broke the camel's back, literally.
I think it was kind of like, I've been nice guy so far, but let's be bad guy just because we need to get this across. And he has opened like several opportunities for Owen to like have taken, and they were all nice guy things. Now it's just like, nope, not doing nice guy anymore.
Yeah, and like I like TK said like something like you like do this, you like walk around this or something like along the lines of that, and like Owen's like, Carlos, do I blah blah blah, and like then,
I'm like, okay, not fair, because he's got his boyfriend glaring at him, his almost father-in-law glaring at him, and it's like,
and Carlos,
and he
it's
is
like
so diplomatic.
Carlos calling
like,
Captain for the billionth time, and Owen being like, for the love of God, please call me Owen.
I love that.
That was my favorite Owen line, I think.
Yeah.
I think so.
It was just like the sass, like Owen's just like, Jesus, just call me Owen. Come on, it's been months.
Right. And then, we get everybody's kind of trying to encourage him, and I love how Judd is the one that just gets to the point. He's like, so you're depressed. Everybody knows it.
Yeah, like,
but Marsha had been put on the spot, and she was like, she just said something really nice. And I think Owen did kind of need to hear that, but it was like,
and he's like, oh, well, I kind of like this kind of intervention. Keep going.
Yeah, I thought that was really
that was good for his ego.
Yeah, really.
Judd was like, I love Judd is just like the kind of person that just gets to the point, and he like just says it how it is. He's like, yeah, you're depressed. Everyone knows it, and I'm like, yes, you say it.
Yeah.
So it just occurred to me, I don't think they kept the scene in that had.
Yeah, they cut it.
Yeah, that had Judd and Owen talking about how Grace is doing.
Mm-hmm.
So it just occurred to me. I didn't realize that, but
I noticed.
I think it was actually fine just being kept in the promo because we needed context. But
and then
I feel like it would have been like off if they were to include it, and I like everything they did include, so I wasn't really missing it. But it was good to at least get it in a promo, just to know like that they would have had a conversation. I feel like they've also had conversations so much that like we get it.
Yeah, I'm actually okay with not having had that.
Yeah,
I think maybe the only thing I wish, just as a fan, but not with a real passion to have gotten, was TK learning about this and then him going home to rant to Carlos.
Right.
Oh, that would have been good.
I would have loved that.
I love that. Yeah. I don't remember. I guess it did come up here too. But TK brings up him canceling the surgery, and he's like, "Well, where'd you hear it?"
And
he's like,
and
it's like this, Teo. And he's like, "Well, where'd you hear it?" He's like,
from
"He told
you, from the source."
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
And Judd's again like, well, did you or didn't you cancel it? He's like, well, yeah, I did. I mean, and I can understand Owen being like nervous about the surgery. But I'm so glad that TK laid into him about it, because not like TK had been trying to talk him into the surgery for a while. He finally decides to do it, and he makes that comment that we all hated earlier in the season. And then he's like, the only reason, TK's saying this, he's like, the only reason you agreed to do it was because you were going to be a father. And you could see the, like, stern, like, I'm pissed face on Ronan. And, And Owen's like, I was already a father, and I will forever regret that unfortunate choice of words. And I'm like, okay, so at least he owned up to admitting that he made a mistake.
Yeah, like I liked how that was brought up because honestly, I'm gonna be real. Like I didn't expect that to ever be mentioned again, so I'm really glad that they did at least acknowledge that Owen said that and stuff. Even though it wasn't technically an apology, but I feel like there has to be an apology eventually, but it's not gonna come until
Honestly,
later this season. Honestly, maybe not even.
honestly, I think Owen's getting too much flack for not. Hang on, let me rephrase that. I'm glad he owned up to it in this, but he's getting flack for not getting down on his knees and begging for forgiveness.
Yeah,
And I'm annoyed at that
yeah,
because yes, he shouldn't have said it. Yay, it's a good thing he acknowledged it. And you know, TK's hint was subtle enough. He didn't even have to have taken that.
yeah,
So, you know, it was a pretty subtle hint. I'm just going to say I thought it was going to be something much more visible. So I would like if we got more of an apology, but I'm also kind of ready to let it go right now, just personally, because I'm just like at the moment we have more things to worry about.
yeah, yeah. Like
And honestly, just a good bonding time between Owen and TK would make up for it just as much as an apology, in my opinion.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like I expect it to maybe not like that exact thing to come up, but I expect there to be somewhat of a closure or somewhat of a discussion or them airing things out eventually. But I don't necessarily think it has to be this drawn out thing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
I'm going to be happy if it's, even if it's just indirect again. They can kind of do what they please with this now, but I would like some actual non-complicated bonding time.
Right.
Exactly.
Yep. I think for me, I'm glad that TK finally said something because he's obviously bottled that up for a while and finally just is like, I'm saying it. And at least Owen acknowledged that he remembers saying it and was wrong to say it.
Yeah.
And the one little moment in this that I really, really loved is half of this intervention, TK's holding Carlos's hand and Carlos has it in his lap, and it was so cute because even though TK's glaring at his dad, Carlos is holding his hand, and I love that.
This is so sad. I never even noticed that.
Oh my god. Okay, so
I never noticed that.
it's okay. Honestly, okay, so about that, a lot of people were saying, and I watched it back after I heard people say this, but a lot of people were saying, eventually in the scene, gradually you see TK, reach his hand over, so they weren't holding hands the whole time, but people were like, well, the way TK had his hand over to Carlos, it was Carlos was holding his hand but holding his wrist, so it was he was feeling his pulse to see how
the
tense
pulse point.
how tense he was and for comfort, and I was like, oh, that's everything, and I didn't originally think of that, and I was like, I love that.
I mean, to me that's complicating a handhold too much, but also it's cute. So yeah, either way, it's now I have to go back and rewatch the episode or just that part just to see that because
it's yes, it's not the whole time, but it's in the random moment in the middle of the scene, and it's just everything.
That's an offense to the Tarlos fandom, not to notice the handle.
And then, so right after this, so TK gets upset. And he's like, fine, he's going to do whatever he leaves. And so everybody leaves. And then Owen's like, well, Mateo, you don't have to leave. We can hang. And he's like, I'm going to go stay at Paul's tonight because I really need to get some sleep.
Poor boy.
I was like, that's
Poor
a little
Mateo.
Depressing. And as he said, he's like, well, that was depressing.
Right.
Yeah.
And also, I will say one thing that was sad. We got so little of Paul, who would be such a good intervention person.
Yeah.
He did not talk all that much. And it's dang it. But also, not that big a deal. But, dang it.
Yeah, it wasn't a big deal because this is more TK's thing because it's his, even though it's their captain, this is his dad, so it kind of involves him almost more. So,
but I also would have if we had to choose between the Marjan moment or a Paul moment, I would have been fine with either. Marjan's speak up was good, but I just feel Paul would have been such a good interventioner.
Yeah.
So then the next scene is kind of Owen's calling for Buttercup, and he's, did you ghost me again? Looking for Buttercup. And he finds him whimpering underneath the table, so he rushes.
And that's when you're
bed.
oh no!
This
we're
made
like,
me so nervous.
yeah,
Okay,
I was so
I was feeling
worried.
this the whole episode. Let's be real. The first moment he didn't answer, I was like, "Is he dead?" And then this one, I'm like, "God!" This is when I started crying because I actually thought something happened to him because we didn't know that like if his cancer was gone or not, which we know now, like after this little segment that it is. But I was like, ugh, I started crying.
Do
Yeah.
we? Because we knew there wasn't a new tumor.
They said well, I thought that implied that like that it wasn't Bex. I think they said something along the lines of that.
Well, the way I took it, and I just don't think they specified very much, but the way I took it was if there was like another tumor, like one in his intestines, then they'd have to like make some decisions because that'd just be way too much cancer. And my sister actually has a cat who is terminally ill with cancer in her intestines. So that's a really hard, horrible cancer.
Right.
And so I'm just
Well,
like, I know it
yeah.
could have been either. I just assumed there was no new tumor and kind of left it at that.
Well, yeah, I kind of got slightly. I don't know what I did. I think for me, I wasn't even thinking like his cancer gone. I just was thinking because we know he had lung cancer because the doctor had said that, and that was the whole point of like connection with Owen's lung cancer. But I love that TK and Carlos actually showed up, even though TK was still pissed at his dad.
It's Buttercup. Come on.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And and so they're like, well, what's going on? And then so Owen says like they say it's a massive blockage, and they're not sure until they have to see if it's they have to go in and do surgery to find out what it is. Which we get then. I'm so sorry, Owen. Finally from Carlos.
I was like, me who's thinking it's going to be season 6 before we get it. I'm like, oh, hell yeah!
Yeah, I wasn't expecting. I was honestly expecting it to take probably until they got like married, honestly.
Yeah.
Or engaged. I'm like, but will he keep this up? Will he keep it up?
Right.
Will I don't know. It's hard to say. Like, obviously at work that's a different story, but like, will he keep it up in his personal life? Who knows?
Okay, did anyone else think it was weirder to hear him say Owen than it is to hear Captain Strange?
Yes, it was a little weird to hear that.
Because I wasn't expecting it. Like, I was like,
okay.
A couple of weeks ago, Ronan posted a picture of him and Rafa wearing those outfits when they were like outside. So obviously this was filming this scene.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
The blue. And I
didn't even connect the outfits.
Yeah. I didn't connect it until I saw somebody post like a fan art with that image. I'm like, oh yeah, I remember when he posted that.
Oh yeah, me every time I watch the episode, I'm like, this was at this day.
Yeah,
this was. I'm like
this
literally.
Was this day.
I literally know. I'm like, I know what happened that day. Like the earlier scene, like that outfit was the outfit that Ronan wore when he had a long break on set, so he went and saw a movie.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Like, I know all the behind the scenes stuff.
Right.
It's like, it's honestly everything.
We don't always get that, so it's really cool that we have that. Yeah, so then the vet brings out Buttercup, and he's like prancing around, and he's all kind of happy,
he's like
feeling better.
And
Owen's like, Buttercup, what happened? What's going on? It's like, so he's okay? And they're like, oh no, there definitely was a blockage, but he actually just passed this. And she holds up a bag with the sloth thing from. She's like, I think it's an otter. And he's like, oh no, it's a sloth. And then we see the flashback of him with Gwen and the sloth otter tea thing. Yeah.
And I'm just kind of like, okay, so Buttercup's giving his opinion. He's shitting on Gwen right now.
Oh, yes, that's what I was thinking. I'm like, yep, Buttercup's even pissed at Gwen.
Ooh,
I'm just like, yeah, just shit on that. Oh.
Honestly, Buttercup's probably like, listen, I got no attention when Gwen was around, and yeah.
No,
literally.
I'm your baby.
Right, and but I did love, like, as TK and Carlos and Owen are kind of petting Buttercup, Owen tells TK that he thanks him for yesterday, and he says he's going to reschedule his surgery. So.
Yes. Carlos petting Buttercup.
Yes.
Oh my god. That was everything. Like, I was like, finally.
So much. I need like more solo scenes with them, but like, it's a good start.
We need so whoever is the handler for the dog that plays Buttercup, we need like them to have an Instagram.
Yeah,
And they
please.
can post the pictures with the cast. That would be so cool.
Oh my god, I need a Buttercup Instagram. Like, please.
Yes.
Please.
And then I think TK sits like, well, when are you doing? He's like, well, after we have a party. And then the next scene is them going to the little kid's house that had been, nobody came to his birthday party. So they bring the fire trucks, and Carlos and one of his officer partners comes, and the ice cream truck from the store from the earlier in the episode comes, and they have this big block party.
I loved that so much.
I did too.
I'm
and
just
in a
like,
way,
yay.
when it panned to Owen and TK sitting on the kind of the little rock wall there, I felt like that was in a way a moment where TK was kind of chilling out from all this. Like, even though it wasn't a thing was said, but TK's like, this was a good idea, or
Yeah.
something like that. I don't know. I thought it was good. I love to see that Carlos was there.
Yeah.
And
Honestly, with the song playing and like just as like TK looks at Owen and it goes, "You're my best friend" in the song, it's like,
yeah.
that's all I need.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm
Oh
done.
yeah. That
And
totally fit.
Yeah, and the Tarlos look like them both like
Yeah.
smiling, and I'm like, oh, like they
Yeah.
weren't really paying attention to each other, but it was just like they were in the same moment, so it was just like so cute.
Standing next to each other, hanging out with the kids. Yeah, that was really sweet. And honestly, I will say it, it's been said a lot, but Ronan and Rob could pass as like, I don't know, relatives. They look so much alike.
Oh yeah, he could be his actual son.
I agree. Yes, like literally, they could be like father and son. Yes.
And even, I think even Ronan posted a tweet about it or something.
Yeah, I think I think it was a tweet or something. But yeah, like literally, I've been saying that like every episode. But like, yes. I love this episode so much. Like, it might honestly be my new favorite. I'm not really sure, but like, I just loved it a lot because like it was like everything I've been wanting.
Yeah, it's definitely got a lot of pluses for me. I can't say that it's like my most favorite, but it's definitely like top 5, maybe.
Yeah. Okay, not like ever, but like season 2, it might be.
Season 2, yeah.
Of season 2, maybe not season 1, but definitely season 2.
It will
I think
definitely...
season 2 is this one is in my top 5.
Yeah.
For sure. I don't know if it makes it into my top 3 necessarily because those are pretty firmly fixed, but top 5, I think.
Well, it's definitely going to be in my top 5 favorite Carlos scenes because of the move-in.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we don't know what we're even getting yet, so like I don't know if it'll change or what. But
that is true.
It's so hard.
And Ronan is keeping teasing us about the upcoming episodes.
I'm almost worried they're going to disappoint.
I know. Like people, okay, the thing is like 12 is the main one he's like hyping up so much, and like I'm just afraid that like it's, I don't know, I don't expect anything bad to happen necessarily, but I'm afraid that like he's hyping it up so much and then I watch it and I'm gonna be like, oh, this is it.
Like he has yet to fail us.
Yeah, he doesn't.
I will say. But doesn't mean it can't happen.
He's like, I've been right so far.
Right.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like 10, this episode, is the catalyst to kick off at least the next 2, maybe 3 episodes.
Yeah. It's definitely gonna be like, if we're talking about like the fire, like arson thing, it's gonna be 2 episodes, it's not gonna be 3.
Though it just occurred to me, wonder if they're doing some big, I wonder if the arson is the big season finale disaster kind of thing, or if we're in for something 13 and 14.
Okay, so like the arson thing is only supposed to happen between 11 and 12. It's supposed to be over after 12. It's not going to go any further than that.
I just wonder if that's going to be like the end of the big things, but I don't feel like it is, because now Lone Star's kind of following the theme with 911 of like disasters in the beginning and the end. I think. I mean, we'll see, but
I'm getting the vibe that 12-13 will be kind of the climax of the season, and then episode 14 is going to be more of a wrapping up some of the smaller storylines from the episode.
Yeah, that's
honestly, I could see that.
Yeah, that's usually how like seasons go if they're done well. Is like 14 just wraps up everything and stuff. But like, yeah, there's just like I feel like in a sense there's like so much to like close out that I'm like, yeah, like I'm honestly just realizing that like 13 would be the second to last episode, and I'm like, I don't want any of the end episodes to like disappoint, which I don't think they will, but like I'm just thinking too far ahead, and I'm like, this is too far away. I know very little about 13, which is why I'm like, eh.
Honestly, they're so busy teasing 12 that I don't think like 13 is even on anybody's radar.
Yeah. Well, I think, the season's going to end in 14, and then when we get season 3, I'm saying when because I'm confident we're getting renewed.
Yeah.
I have a feeling there's going to be a time jump because Grace will probably be like in her middle of her pregnancy, kind of like what they did with Maddie.
Yeah, I definitely see the same thing happening or a similar thing happening. Like they have to jump at least 3 to 6 months.
Yeah.
Like there's always a time jump between seasons. We've gotten that with 9-1 and just shows in general. They don't typically pick up where they left off unless it's like needed for the storyline.
Yeah, like a cliffhanger.
But like even if there was like this major cliffhanger, they would leave off where they left off, but then jump forward. But yeah, I'm like, I don't know. I'm excited.
I mean, I feel like they do it more along the lines of what 911 did at the end of season 2, because we were kind of on a cliffhanger with how Buck was doing after like having his leg crushed and stuff.
Yeah.
And then we were jumped ahead into him recovering.
Right.
Yeah.
And so I feel like that's about as much as they do at the end of the season, but I don't know. I mean, this is a separate show.
Yeah, exactly. Like I'm not expecting them to follow in their footsteps necessarily.
I hope
but
they don't.
It's like it's just I'm using it as a guide. Like I'm like they like time jumps are gonna be like pretty similar and stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah. Who knows? Who knows?
So much coming up, but we do have a promo for upcoming.
Yeah, this promo was kind of like, okay, like this happened, but like, it's nothing major. I mean, it's nothing major. I mean, it isn't nothing. Like, it wasn't like anything I'm like really like dying about or like excited about. I feel like it's just
it was all very centered around like, well, of course they're centered around Owen, but I don't know, I'm excited to see the episode, but I feel like this is probably one of the promos where I feel most out of context in.
Yeah, that's how I feel. Like it's just like, oh, okay, like it's nice, but I don't know. I'm also like, I don't know. So like,
I don't know.
Yeah,
sorry.
that's my mood.
The whole point of this was that Owen's recovering from his surgery, so he's off for a while. So Judd's taken over as captain.
Love that.
Yeah.
So I feel like episode 11 is going to be more so focused on like Owen having a surgery and Judd taking over and the start of like this arson case.
Yeah, I don't think
I have no idea what promo is what anymore.
Yeah. Well, for like 11, I don't think we're gonna really see like the surgery or anything like that, and I think like he's already gonna be recovering for at least a week.
I think they'll have skipped over it.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be skipped over because like they also mentioned he's only gonna be recovering for a couple weeks. It's not gonna be like a major like recovery and stuff. But like Owen heard the call from the fire coming over the radio, which really just means he was listening to like a scanner or whatever and stuff, which people are like, how? And I'm like, it's obviously like a fire scanner. And stuff.
Plenty of people have scanners without malicious intent.
Yeah, exactly. And like,
so like, frick off people.
So he like shows up and then like we know he's off because of the surgery, and then like the place that was on fire in the promo people thought was Carlos's, and I'm like, that looks more like a business than an actual like house. First of all, it looks nothing like the area of Carlos's house, first of all.
I honestly don't know because I've watched it, but I don't remember it very clearly.
Yeah, it wasn't anything. I mean, I keep saying it's nothing special, but it literally wasn't. Like, I didn't
It
feel like
showed us like nothing.
it showed us nothing, which is fine because, like, I get that they're not going to show us half of the stuff.
Yeah, they're definitely giving us breadcrumbs to the whole loaf. So we've got a lot to come. And obviously we've got this, the arson investigator from the department is,
Oh,
they
yeah.
don't really have anything in there,
Yeah, well, they said there was no, like, accelerants used. So,
Yeah.
like, Owen obviously goes to this dude and was like, hey, you need to check this out. And he's like, no, there was nothing to check out.
Right.
No, I mean,
So
That-
accelerants aren't the only way to set a fire.
Right,
So
right.
I'm kind of getting the
It's an
vibe.
easy way,
Yeah.
but it's not the only way.
Yeah, I'm kind of
Yeah.
getting the vibe that like it almost could be like Owens had experience with different types of arson cases in New York, and they're like tunnel vision in Texas of like, well, they haven't maybe dealt with this type of case before, so they're not seeing anything different.
I mean, Austin is still Austin. I'm sure they've dealt with plenty of arsons before, but maybe, I don't know, maybe Owen just dealt with more creative variety.
Yeah. Honestly, this happens in every show with this kind of case where they say, oh, this couldn't have happened or this wasn't used. And then it's like, it was.
Right.
Yeah,
And
like,
stuff.
it's not cut and dry with accelerants. So,
Yeah.
honestly, just rigging something with the electrical wiring could set something up. So,
Yeah.
it's very easy to move it around.
Yeah, it could be so many things. That's why. And like, yeah, I feel like I get it. It's supposed to be big because it's supposed to be like basically the hugest case of this season.
Yeah.
They probably one of the bigger storylines of the season, like a big call for the season.
Mhm.
But I don't know. I just need to. I don't even need to know. I just like. Honestly, I don't know. I just want to know, I guess. It's just because it's so hyped up and I can't, like, I need to know what happens now. I need the story.
I'll be excited to see what happens. And I feel like this is going to be like the exciting episode, which leads into the exciting episode of 12.
Yeah, I definitely
So.
think, like, maybe, okay, so, like, the last thing that happens in the promo is Owen gets knocked out, probably by the arsonist.
Mm-hmm.
Or, like, a cover or something. And honestly, I feel like that's gonna be, like, the last thing they show us.
Oh, I imagine.
Or, yeah, I honestly think that, okay, if that's not the last thing in 11, it's gonna be, like, I don't know, I honestly do think. Because I think, like, this whole episode you'll kind of get, like, vibes of, like, the arson and that kind of stuff. But I don't know. Also, do we think that Carlos's place is on fire in 11 or 12? Because I don't know. I feel like it's 12.
I think it's at the end of 11.
See, I
Yeah,
thought,
maybe.
originally I thought that was gonna end 11, but honestly now I'm thinking it's gonna be 12 because Ronan. Ronan is just making me think these things.
Well,
Honestly, just Owen and TK's talk of arson, that gives me the vibe it's in 11. But the arson itself, I see in 12.
Well, we don't actually know if he's talking to TK about the fire at Carlos's being arson. We just know he's talking to him about arson.
That's like the caveat. If it is Carlos's, I think it's in 11. If it's fire in general, then I think that the fire's in 12.
I feel like Carlos's though has to be arson or connected to it only because of TK's reaction. There is no way he wouldn't be like upset about the arson, like that upset if
Unless
it
hurt a kid or something. That's about the only thing I see.
Yeah, but like the reaction for me was just like really personal. Like it looked really personal for him. So there's no way that like there's like very slim chances that it wasn't personal. Basically, is what I'm trying to say.
I think promo is promo, but I think it is about Carlos.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Honestly, I can't really, based on that conversation, it's holding me back on thinking that it's 12.
I think our next podcast is going to be very interesting because we're going to have a lot to talk about.
I know.
We are, and I think we're going to have maybe a little less of, oh, I guessed that, because I also feel like we don't have a clue.
Yeah, I feel like the main thing that I have is like I only have theories on like where this might fall or like what will happen when from promos, but like honestly, I kind of want Carlos's place to be on fire on Monday, just like in the next episode, just so we can get it then.
Yes.
Like I don't think I can wait another 2 weeks to find out. Like when Ronan teased 12, like what was that, like 2 weeks ago? I was already dying. Now I'm especially dying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you guys so much for joining us and listening. Be sure to subscribe to the podcast on Anchor. We are also on Spotify, Apple, and Google Podcasts, and almost anywhere where podcasts can be found. On iTunes, rate us and leave us a review. It would mean a lot to us. You guys can follow the podcast on our socials at 911LS Roundup on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
You can follow me, Katie, at For the Love of Tarlos on Instagram and at For Love of Tarlos on Twitter.
You can follow me, Grace, at RonanRatha911 on Instagram and at SheepGirl31 on Twitter.
You can follow me, EJ, at EJ8302 on Instagram and Twitter. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.